Chosen one. Why did you wake up at 3:47 a.m. with your heart pounding? Why does it feel like invisible walls are closing in on the life you used to know? Why, tell me, why does every door you push suddenly feel like it's pushing back? Stop. Right there. Don't move. What if I told you that something is tracking you right now, not to harm you, but to warn you? What if the restlessness keeping you awake, the anxiety gripping your chest, the sudden distance between you and people you've known for decades? What if none of it is random? Chosen one, you didn't find this message. This message hunted you down. Heaven stopped your scroll. The algorithm didn't bring you here. Divine intervention did. And if you click away now, if you dismiss this as just another video, you may miss the one warning specifically designed to save your next chapter from devastation you cannot yet see. Listen to me carefully. You've felt something shifting, haven't you? That job that always valued you suddenly feels cold. That friend who used to call every week went silent. That peace you carried for years evaporated like morning fog. You thought you were imagining it. You told yourself you're just getting older, just overthinking, just tired. But your spirit knows better. Your spirit has been screaming a word you've been too afraid to say out loud. Something is coming. I'm a messenger standing in the gap between what you sense and what heaven needs you to know. And before this warning ends, before these next sacred minutes conclude, you will understand exactly what's happening in the invisible realm around your life. Why the enemy has shifted his strategy against you, and what you must do in the next 72 hours. There is a clock ticking that you cannot hear. There is a window closing that you cannot see. There is a warning being issued that will not wait for your convenience. Before we go deeper into what heaven is revealing, I need to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow that seed of faith right now. But right now, if something in your chest just recognized itself in these words, type Amen in the comments. Not for me, for heaven. It tells the angelic realm you're listening. It signals to the spirit world that you're ready to receive what's been prepared specifically for you. Because, chosen one, this warning will not wait. And neither should you. Can you feel it right now? That weight pressing down on your chest at 2 a.m. when the house is silent and your mind won't stop. When did the people closest to you start feeling like strangers? When did your own children begin treating your wisdom like outdated news from a world that doesn't matter anymore? Let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. That pressure you've been carrying, the one that makes you wonder if you're losing your mind, if you're too sensitive, if you're just tired from too many years, that's not weakness breaking through. That's heaven knocking from the inside. You see, beloved, there's a pattern in Scripture that the enemy prays you never recognize. God has always chosen the overlooked, the forgotten, the ones society pushed to the margins. Joseph wasn't promoted from the palace, he was elevated from a prison cell where he'd been abandoned for years. Nobody remembered his name, nobody knocked on his door, but God was positioning him in the darkness for a throne he couldn't yet see. Moses wasn't discovered in Jerusalem at the height of his influence. God found him at 80 years old, hidden in the wilderness of Midian, tending sheep, convinced his greatest days had died 40 years earlier in Egyptian sand. 80 years old. The world would have called him expired. Heaven called him ready. And Anna, the prophetess? Luke 2:37 tells us she was 84 years old, widowed since her 20s, spending every single day in the temple while the world walked past her like she was furniture. But when baby Jesus entered those doors, she was the first to recognize the Messiah, not the priests, not the scholars, the forgotten elderly woman who everyone dismissed. Why am I telling you this? Because right now, you're living that pattern, and you don't even know it yet. You wake up, and your body reminds you of every decade you've lived. That knee that won't stop aching, those stairs that feel steeper every month, the prescription bottles lined up on your counter like soldiers mocking your mortality. You look in the mirror and wonder when you became invisible. When did your voice stop mattering to your own family? Your children call once a week if you're lucky, and even then, it feels like obligation, not connection. Your grandchildren stare at screens when you try to share stories that once meant something. The church you served faithfully for 30 years suddenly has younger voices in leadership, and nobody asks your opinion anymore. You've become the generation that society parks in front of televisions and forgets. The loneliness sits in your chest like concrete. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're screaming into a void. Financial fear whispers in your ear, every time you check your bank account, will Social Security be enough? What happens when the medical bills multiply? What if you become a burden? And underneath it all, there's this terrible clock ticking, this sense that time is running out, that if something significant was supposed to happen in your life, it should have happened already. That maybe you missed your moment, that maybe your season is over. But what if I told you that every single thing I just described, every ounce of that pressure, is not evidence of your ending? What if it's the sound of your signal? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Your spirit has been restless not because something is wrong with you. Your spirit has been restless because something is coming for you. And it's bigger than anything you've experienced in all your years on this earth. The enemy wants you to interpret pressure as punishment. He wants you to feel that weight and conclude that God has moved on, that your purpose expired with your youth, that you're just counting down days until heaven calls you home. That's the lie he's been whispering while you've been lying awake at 3 a.m. But the truth? The pressure you feel is prophetic. It's the sound of divine realignment. It's the friction that happens when heaven is shifting you from where you are to where you're meant to be. It's the discomfort that comes right before breakthrough. Think about a caterpillar in a cocoon. If you cut it open to relieve its struggle, you kill the butterfly. The pressure isn't the problem. The pressure is the process. That cocoon doesn't feel like transformation when you're inside it. It feels like burial. It feels like everything is ending. But what's really happening is that something is being born that cannot exist without that exact amount of pressure. Psalm 31:15 says, "My times are in your hands, not some of your times, not your young times, all of your times. The times when you felt strong, and the times when you feel forgotten. The times when doors opened easily, and the times when every door feels welded shut. Every single season is in his hands, and he doesn't waste a second." The invisible pressure you're feeling right now is heaven's way of telling you that you're being repositioned, recalibrated, prepared for something that requires exactly the amount of wisdom, faith, and endurance you've built over all these decades. But here's what you need to understand, and this is urgent. There is one mistake, one critical error that chosen ones make during this exact pressure. And when they make it, it derails the very blessing that the pressure was preparing them to receive. I'm going to reveal that mistake to you. But first, you need to understand exactly what heaven is warning you about right now. You know what's been eating at you more than the bills, more than the loneliness, more than the fear of what's next. It's the silence, the deafening, suffocating silence from the one you've served your entire life. You prayed every morning for 30 years. You tithed when you couldn't afford groceries. You raised your children in the church, buried your spouse while clutching your Bible, stood firm when everyone else walked away. And what did you get in return? Silence. Cold, empty, crushing silence. Where was God when the doctor said cancer? Where was he when your retirement savings evaporated? Where was he when your own children stopped calling, when the church you built turned their backs, when that desperate 3 a.m. prayer bounced off the ceiling like a rubber ball? Let me tell you something that's going to shatter everything you thought you knew about divine silence. When God goes quiet, He's not ignoring you, He's examining you. Think about a master jeweler in the Diamond District here in Manhattan. When he picks up a stone worth millions, does he immediately start cutting? Does he rush? Does he make noise? No. He goes silent. He holds that diamond up to the light. He rotates it slowly. He studies every angle, every facet, every potential flaw. The silence isn't doubt, it's deep concentration. He knows exactly what he's holding. He's measuring its capacity to handle what comes next. You are that diamond, chosen one, and heaven has been measuring you. Job understood this mystery. For 37 chapters, he sat in ashes, covered in boils, listening to his friends accuse him while God said nothing, not a whisper, not a word. Job cried out, "Though I call for help, there is no justice." That's Job 19:7. He felt abandoned, forgotten, cursed. But God wasn't absent. He was watching, testing, measuring. And when God finally spoke in chapter 38, He didn't apologize for the silence. He revealed His sovereignty. The silence wasn't punishment. It was preparation for double restoration. Now look at your own life. Really look at it. You survived that divorce that should have destroyed you. You made it through that depression that whispered suicide every single night. You're still standing after that betrayal, that bankruptcy, that diagnosis, that loss that left you hollow inside. You should be broken. You should be bitter. You should be finished. But you're not. Do you know why? Because while you thought God was silent, He was actually holding you together with invisible hands. Every morning you woke up and decided to try again, that was Him. Every time you wanted to give up but didn't, that was Him. Every breath you took when your chest felt crushed by grief, that was Him sustaining you in the silence. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." But the Hebrew word for be still is rapha. It means to let go, to surrender, to stop fighting. God wasn't asking you to enjoy the silence. He was asking you to survive it long enough to see what He was building. You think you're behind schedule? You think you've wasted years? You think God forgot about you while blessing everyone else? That's exactly what the enemy wants you to believe. Because if he can convince you that the silence means abandonment, he can stop you from stepping into what the silence was actually preparing you for. Listen to me carefully. You are not behind. You are being held back for divine timing. Moses spent 40 years in a desert thinking God was done with him. 40 years of silence. But God was developing patience in a murderer so He could lead millions without losing his mind. David spent years running through caves while wearing the anointing of a king. Years of silence. But God was teaching him to worship in the dark so his psalms could sustain generations. Jesus Himself disappeared for 18 years between the temple at age 12 and the Jordan River at 30. 18 years of silence. But that silence was building the character to carry the cross. Your silence hasn't been empty. It's been full of divine activity you couldn't see. Every closed door was God protecting you from settling for less than His best. Every unanswered prayer was Him saying, "Not yet, because I have something better." Every person who walked away was Him removing distractions from your destiny. The jeweler doesn't examine the stone because he doubts its value. He examines it because he knows exactly how precious it is. And right now, as I speak these words, God is almost done examining you. The silence is breaking. The season is shifting. What He's been building in the dark is about to be revealed in the light. But you have to trust that the silence was never rejection. It was divine measurement of your capacity to handle what He's about to release. If you know in your spirit that God's silence has been shaping you, that every quiet season was preparing you for something greater, type, "I trust God's timing" in the comments right now. Let heaven know you finally understand. Because, chosen one, if God has been quiet in your life, it doesn't mean he's absent. It means he's almost ready to speak. And when he does, everything changes. But the question burning in the air right now is this: what exactly has he been preparing you for? What is so significant, so powerful, so world-shaking that it required this much silence, this much testing, this much divine examination? The answer will terrify the enemy and liberate your soul. Now listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to expose will shake you to your core. The warning heaven sent me to deliver isn't about some demon lurking in the shadows. It's not about witchcraft or curses or spiritual warfare the way you've been taught to recognize it. The trap the enemy set for you is far more cunning than that. He's convinced you to respond to fear instead of instruction. You see, dear chosen one, the devil studied you for 70, 80, 90 years. He watched how you react when things go wrong. He documented every pattern, every weakness, every wound that never quite healed. And now, in these final years, when God is preparing to use you most powerfully, the enemy has deployed his most sophisticated weapon against you. Not temptation, not attack, but distraction wrapped in discouragement. Think about it. When was the last time you felt that fire in your chest, that knowing that God was about to do something magnificent through you? You felt it, didn't you? That stirring, that anticipation. But then what happened? The bills piled up higher than expected. Your adult children stopped calling as often. The doctor used words like chronic and management instead of cure. Your church started feeling cold, distant, like you didn't belong anymore. And somewhere between the Medicare statements and the sleepless nights, that fire got buried under a mountain of fatigue. The enemy doesn't need to overpower a chosen one. He only needs to distract them for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of dwelling on what you've lost instead of what God promised. 5 minutes of comparing your life to others on Facebook who seem to have it all together. 5 minutes of believing the lie that your best days are behind you, that your voice doesn't matter anymore, that God has moved on to younger, stronger vessels. Proverbs 29:18 declares, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." But let me tell you what that really means in your life right now. When the enemy steals your forward vision and replaces it with backward nostalgia, you don't just stop moving, you start dying while you're still breathing. He's weaponized your memories against you. You remember when your knees didn't ache, when you could work a full day without exhaustion, when people listened when you spoke, when your opinion mattered, when you felt needed instead of tolerated. The enemy whispers, "Those were the good old days. God used you then, but now you're just waiting to die." That's the trap. That's the snare. That's the lie from hell that's keeping breakthrough at arm's length. But here's what the devil doesn't want you to know. Here's what makes him tremble when he looks at your life. Every single delay you've experienced, every door that closed, every relationship that ended, every dream that seemed to die, it wasn't God forgetting you. It was God protecting what he's been building inside you. Moses was 80 when the burning bush called his name. 80. The enemy thought Moses was finished, washed up, too old to matter. But God said, "Now you're ready. Now you've been humbled enough, tested enough, refined enough to handle what I'm about to do through you." The problem isn't your age. The problem is you've been listening to the wrong voice. Satan cannot defeat you in direct combat. Your salvation is sealed. Your destiny is written. Your name is engraved on the palm of God's hand. So he's changed tactics. He's attacking you through isolation, through self-doubt, through the exhausting weight of just getting through another day. He hopes you'll defeat yourself. He's counting on you to give up 5 minutes before your breakthrough manifests. He's betting that you'll be so distracted by your circumstances that you'll miss the instruction heaven is trying to download into your spirit right now, because there's a reason this warning had to reach you fast. There's a reason you're hearing these words at this exact moment in your life. God is positioning you for something so significant that the enemy mobilized every weapon in his arsenal to keep you distracted, discouraged, and looking backward instead of forward. 2 Corinthians 4:16 says, "Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day." Did you catch that? While your body ages, your spirit is being upgraded. While the world counts you out, heaven is counting on you. But you have to stop responding to fear and start responding to instruction. What has God been whispering to you in those 3 a.m. moments when you can't sleep? What assignment has been burning in your chest that you keep dismissing as foolish dreaming? What prophetic word did someone speak over you decades ago that you buried because life got hard and it seemed impossible? The enemy wants you to forget. God is saying, remember, your past pain wasn't random, it was preparation. Your current struggle isn't punishment, it's positioning. Your age isn't a limitation, it's a weapon the enemy fears. Because you carry wisdom, he cannot counterfeit, and faith he cannot shake. But there is a counter move heaven expects from you, and when you do it, every delay on your life will shatter. That's coming next, because what I'm about to reveal will give you the exact strategy to break free from this trap once and for all. The devil cannot defeat you, but will you stop defeating yourself long enough to see what God is about to do? You know what breaks my heart? It's watching someone like you, 70, 75, 80 years old, believing that your life has become background noise in a world obsessed with youth. You sit in that same chair every evening, wondering if anyone would notice if you just disappeared. You call your children and they're too busy. You show up at church and people look past you. You serve, you give, you pray, and the world treats you like wallpaper. But let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. Every single moment you thought you were alone, you weren't. Every tear you cried in that empty bedroom at 2 a.m., it was collected. Every act of kindness you showed when your own heart was breaking, it was recorded. Every sacrifice you made that your family never acknowledged, heaven documented it with your name written in gold. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book, not some of your tears, all of them. Every single drop that fell from your eyes when you thought nobody cared, God caught them. He bottled them. He labeled them with the date, the time, the reason. And chosen one, those bottles are stacked in heaven's treasury like the most precious evidence in the universe. You thought no one saw when you paid that electric bill for your neighbor who was about to get shut off. You thought no one noticed when you prayed for 3 hours straight for a grandson who won't even return your calls. You thought no one cared when you took that meal to the woman down the hall who everyone else forgot about. But there are angels in that room with you. Hebrews 1:14 calls them ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. They're not just floating around playing harps. They're writing, they're documenting, they're recording every moment of faithfulness that the world overlooks. Your private battles are public record in heaven. Think about this. When you served your husband for 43 years through his illness, when you cleaned him, fed him, loved him, even when he couldn't remember your name that wasn't invisible, heaven saw every exhausted morning. Every time you wanted to break down but chose to stand up instead. Every moment you whispered "I love you" to a man who could no longer say it back. The world called it duty. Heaven called it worship. When you lost that job at 62 and spent the next 3 years scraping by, applying to positions that went to people half your age with half your experience, you thought you were worthless. You thought you'd been discarded. But God was watching you choose dignity over bitterness. He was recording your decision to keep praying, even when the prayers felt hollow. He was noting every morning you got dressed and tried again when giving up would have been easier. Listen to me carefully. You are not invisible. You are under divine observation. Right now, this very second, there are angels assigned specifically to you. Not to a category, not to a demographic, to you. They know your name. They know your address. They know which chair you sit in, which coffee cup you use, which window you stare out when you're feeling forgotten. And they're standing guard, not because you're weak, but because you're valuable. Daniel 10:12 records an angel telling Daniel, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words." From the first day. Not after you proved yourself, not after you earned it. From the first day heaven heard you, the response was already in motion. Every prayer you've prayed that seemed to bounce off the ceiling, it pierced the heavens. Every time you cried out, "God, do you even see me?" He was already dispatching the answer. But there's something the enemy has been hiding from you. He's convinced you that silence means absence, that delay means denial, that because you can't see the movement, there isn't any. That's a lie from hell. Your tears are not forgotten. They are filed in heaven like precious evidence for the day when God vindicates you in front of everyone who overlooked you. Your sacrifices are not wasted. They're invested in an eternal account that's collecting interest you can't even imagine. Your faithfulness in the dark is being transformed into authority in the light. But here's the warning, and you need to hear this. Don't let a season of silence erase a lifetime of faithfulness. The enemy is whispering right now. He's saying, "It's too late. Nobody cares. You might as well quit. You might as well give up. You might as well stop trying because your life doesn't matter anymore." And if you believe that lie, if you let this season of invisibility convince you to abandon the post God assigned you, you'll miss the harvest that's been growing in secret. Your battle wasn't private, it was strategic. Heaven has been watching, recording, preparing, and what's about to be released in your life will prove that every moment you thought was forgotten was actually being set up for this exact hour. Type "I am seen by God" if you've ever felt invisible. Say it out loud. Let heaven confirm what your heart has been crying for, that you matter, that you're noticed, that your life is not background noise but a sacred symphony being conducted by the Almighty Himself. But now I need to tell you why this warning couldn't wait another day. Because what heaven has been observing, what's been recorded in those books, it's all connected to something dark that's been tracking you. Now listen to me carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to tell you will save you from the greatest mistake you could make in this season. The enemy has been whispering one word in your ear, over and over, like a dripping faucet in the middle of the night. Move. Move now. Do something. Fix it. Force it. Make it happen. Push that door open. Call that person back. Demand an answer. Take control before it's too late. And every time you've listened to that voice, what happened? The situation got worse, didn't it? The door slammed harder, the relationship fractured deeper, the opportunity vanished completely. You thought you were being proactive. You thought you were showing faith, but you were actually interrupting God's strategy with your panic. Here's the truth that will shake you. Rushing is not faith, it's fear in motion. Think about it. When has panic ever produced anything permanent? When has anxiety ever built anything lasting? When has desperation ever opened a door that God intended to stay closed? You've lived long enough to know the answer. 70, 80, 90 years on this earth have taught you one undeniable lesson. Forced fruit rots faster than patient harvest. But the world, this frantic, microwave, instant gratification world, has conditioned you to believe that waiting equals weakness. That stillness means you've given up. That patience is just a pretty word for doing nothing. And so you've spent decades running, striving, pushing, forcing, trying to make things happen on your timeline instead of God's. How many doors have you broken down that God was trying to keep closed for your protection? How many relationships have you forced that heaven was trying to prevent? How many opportunities have you chased that were actually distractions designed to pull you off course? Stop. Just stop. God is saying to you right now, in this very moment, be still. Psalm 46:10 doesn't say, be anxious and know that I am God. It doesn't say, be busy and know that I am God. It says, be still and know that I am God. That word still in Hebrew is rapha. It means to let go, to release, to cease striving, to stop fighting and let God fight for you. Your stillness is not surrender. It's strategy. Let me paint you a picture that your life experience will recognize immediately. A ship captain doesn't leave port just because passengers are impatient. He waits for the right tide. Why? Because leaving at the wrong time doesn't just delay the journey, it destroys the vessel. The same wind that propels you at high tide will wreck you at low tide. You are that ship right now. And heaven is telling you, the tide hasn't turned yet. Wait. A farmer doesn't plant seed just because he's tired of staring at empty fields. He waits for the right season. Why? Because seed planted in frozen ground doesn't just fail to grow, it wastes the entire harvest. Ecclesiastes 3:2 declares, there is a time to plant and a time to uproot. Planting at the wrong time is just as destructive as uprooting at the wrong time. You've been trying to plant in winter, beloved, and God is saying, wait for spring. A surgeon doesn't cut just because the family is anxious in the waiting room. He waits for the right moment, the right angle, the right depth. Why? Because cutting too soon doesn't just fail to heal, it kills the patient. 1 millimeter too far and the heart stops. 1 second too early and the artery ruptures. Your life is on that operating table right now. And the great physician is saying, trust my timing. My hands are steady. My eyes see what you cannot. Wait. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Your waiting is not weakness. Your stillness is not surrender. Your patience is not passivity. It is the most powerful act of warfare you can engage in right now, because it says to the enemy, I will not be manipulated by fear. I will not be rushed by panic. I will not be moved by circumstances. I'm waiting on God, and hell itself cannot make me move before he says move. Isaiah 40:31 promises, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. But notice something crucial. It doesn't say they that wait for the Lord. It says they that wait upon the Lord. There's a difference. Waiting for him is passive. Waiting upon him is active. It's like a waiter in a restaurant, constantly watching, constantly ready, constantly positioned to respond the instant the command comes. That's you right now. You're not sitting idle. You're standing ready. You're not doing nothing. You're doing the hardest thing a human can do, trusting God when everything in you screams to take control. But here's what happens when you finally learn this divine discipline. Here's what unlocks when you stop forcing and start trusting. Every delay you've experienced, every door that stayed closed, every opportunity that seemed to pass you by, they weren't denials. They were delays with purpose. God wasn't ignoring your prayers. He was protecting your future. That job you didn't get in 1987, it would have transferred you to a city where you'd have been miserable. That relationship that ended in 1995, that person would have destroyed your peace. That investment you almost made in 2008, it would have bankrupted you. You've been angry at closed doors when you should have been grateful for divine protection. And now, right now, in this season where everything feels stuck, where nothing seems to be moving, where heaven itself appears silent, God is doing the same thing. He's protecting something you cannot see. He's preventing something you don't understand. He's positioning you for something you're not ready for yet. Your stillness is the strategy that's about to unlock everything that's been delayed. But you have to make a choice right now. Will you trust the process, or will you abort the miracle by moving too soon? Will you wait upon the Lord, or will you run ahead and sabotage what He's preparing? Comment still, I wait, if you choose faith over panic. Type it now. Let heaven see your surrender. Let the enemy know you will not be moved by fear. Because what happens next depends entirely on whether you can stand still long enough to let God move. You know what nobody tells you about getting old? It's not the wrinkles or the gray hair that hurts the most. It's waking up at 75, 80, 85 years old and looking in the mirror wondering if the best version of you already came and went. It's sitting in that chair by the window, watching the world move faster than you can keep up, and whispering to yourself, God, am I just waiting to die now? Listen to me, chosen one. I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. That exhaustion you feel, that bone-deep weariness that 8 hours of sleep can't touch, that sense that you're living in the epilogue of a story that already ended. That's not God telling you it's over. That's hell lying to you about what's coming next. You've carried more weight than most people will ever know. You buried your spouse and half your friends. You watched your children grow up and move away, promising to call more but never quite finding the time. You gave 40 years to a company that forgot your name the day you retired. You poured your life into a church that now fills the front rows with young families while you sit in the back, invisible, forgotten, wondering if anyone would even notice if you stopped showing up. And somewhere along the way, you started believing the cruelest lie the enemy ever whispered. You're done. You're used up. You're just taking up space now. But what if I told you that everything you've been calling your ending is actually God's staging ground for your greatest beginning? Let me show you something that will shatter that lie forever. In John chapter 12, verse 24, Jesus said something that sounds like riddle, but holds the key to your next chapter. Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Did you catch that? The seed doesn't die, it transforms. What looks like death to the natural eye is actually the beginning of multiplication to the spiritual eye. You thought you were dying, you were germinating. Think about what happens to a seed. It gets buried in cold, dark soil, covered, hidden, pressed down by the weight of earth above it. And if that seed could think, if it could feel, it would swear it was being destroyed. The outer shell cracks. The familiar form breaks apart. Everything it knew as normal disintegrates. But that breaking, that's not death. That's birth. The coconut sits hard and sealed until life demands access to the water inside. The shell doesn't crack because it's weak. It cracks because what's inside is too valuable to stay locked up forever. The sky doesn't break at dawn because something's wrong. It breaks because light is fighting through darkness. And that collision between night and day creates the most spectacular moment of the entire 24 hours. You are not breaking down, beloved. You are breaking open. Every loss that cracked your heart, that wasn't destruction. That was God making room for a capacity to love that your younger self couldn't have handled. Every dream that died, that wasn't failure. That was pruning, cutting away what was good so what's greatest could finally emerge. Every door that slammed shut in your face, that wasn't rejection. That was redirection toward the one door that has your name written on it in heaven's handwriting. Psalm 92, verse 14, declares something that should make every senior saint in America sit up and pay attention. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green, still bear fruit, not used to bear fruit, not remember when they bore fruit, still, present tense, active, alive, producing, fresh and green, not dried up, not withered, not forgotten, fresh and green. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what keeps me up at 3 in the morning praying for people just like you. You've been so busy mourning what you lost that you haven't noticed what you gained. You've been so focused on counting your subtractions that you missed God's multiplication. You lost physical strength, but you gained spiritual authority that makes demons tremble when you pray. You lost the energy of youth, but you gained the wisdom that only comes from walking with God through decades of fire. You lost the illusion of control, but you gained the kind of radical trust that moves mountains. The younger generation has passion. You have proven faithfulness. They have dreams. You have tested faith. They have potential. You have power that's been refined by time and sealed by survival. Moses was 80 when God called him to his greatest work. Anna was 84 when she recognized Jesus in the temple. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age is not your limitation. It's your weapon. Every wrinkle on your face is a victory mark. Every scar on your soul is evidence that you survived what should have killed you. Every year you've lived is another year the enemy failed to destroy what God is still building. You thought this was your winter. This is your harvest season. Right now, there's a young person drowning in despair who needs to hear from someone who's walked through hell and came out praising God. There's a middle-aged parent falling apart who needs wisdom that only 7 decades of life can provide. There's a broken soul in your grocery store, your neighborhood, your own family who's waiting for someone with the authority of age and the anointing of experience to speak life into their death. God didn't keep you alive this long to waste you. He preserved you because what's coming requires what you carry. Type "I still stand" in the comments if you know, if you absolutely know in the deepest part of your spirit that God is not done with you yet. Because chosen one, where you thought you'd end is precisely where God begins, and what He's about to birth through your breaking will leave this world speechless. Listen to me, beloved. What I'm about to tell you might sting at first, but by the time these words settle into your spirit, you're going to feel a weight lift off your shoulders that you've been carrying for 30, 40, maybe 50 years. You thought the enemy was attacking you. You thought Satan himself had marked you for destruction. You spent decades wondering why your life felt like one long battle, why doors kept slamming, why people kept leaving, why your dreams kept dying right before they could breathe. But what if I told you something that will shatter everything you thought you knew about your struggle? The enemy wasn't destroying you. Heaven was realigning you. Every door that closed in your face wasn't rejection. It was redirection. Every person who walked away wasn't abandonment. It was divine extraction. Every dream that died wasn't failure. It was God refusing to let you settle for less than what He actually prepared for you. Think about it. You're 72 years old, sitting in your apartment in Queens, looking back at what you call your wasted years. That marriage that ended when you were 47, that job you lost at 53 when they said you were too old, those children who moved to California and only call on Christmas, that business idea you never launched because fear whispered, "You're too late." You've been calling it tragedy. God's been calling it surgery. Proverbs 16:9 says, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." Do you hear that? You made plans, good plans, reasonable plans, but God had directions. And sometimes His directions look like destruction until you're far enough down the road to see they were actually deliverance. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How many times have you looked in the mirror and whispered, "I missed it. I'm too old now. My time is gone"? That voice? That's not wisdom. That's misalignment trying to convince you that God's correction was condemnation. But here's what really happened. You were a painter standing at a canvas, and you kept painting the wrong picture. You kept trying to create what everyone else said your life should look like: the successful career, the perfect family, the comfortable retirement, the American dream wrapped in a neat little package. And God kept taking the brush from your hand, not because he was angry, because he could see the masterpiece underneath. A painter must erase the wrong stroke to reveal the true vision underneath. You thought he was destroying your art. He was actually protecting his masterpiece. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not overlooked. Say it again with me. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not overlooked. One more time, louder in your spirit. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not overlooked. The loss of purpose you've felt? That was God removing purposes that were never meant to last so he could install the eternal one. The betrayal by family? That was heaven, extracting people who would have hindered what's coming next. The fear of aging? That was the enemy trying to convince you that your expiration date matters more than your anointing date. Every single thing that almost destroyed you was actually misalignment, being corrected by a father who loved you too much to let you live beneath your calling. Job 23:10 declares, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." You've been in the fire, beloved. You've been in the furnace, and you thought God forgot you in there. But he was standing right beside you, burning away everything that wasn't gold, everything that wasn't eternal, everything that wasn't aligned with who he created you to be before time began. Here's what heaven is revealing right now in this very moment. God isn't fixing your past. He's redesigning your future. That retirement you're living, it's not your ending, it's your launching pad. Those quiet days you thought were emptiness, they're actually preparation. That loneliness you felt, it's been God clearing the room so he can introduce you to the right people at the right time for the right purpose. The warning wasn't about danger. The warning was about destiny catching up to you. Everything you've survived, every closed door you've endured, every person who left, every dream that died, it was all divine realignment. And now, right now, heaven is saying the realignment is complete. The surgery is finished. The masterpiece is ready to be revealed. But you have to stop mourning what God intentionally removed. You have to stop calling yourself a failure when heaven calls you refined. You have to stop living like your story is over when God is literally shouting that your greatest chapter is about to begin. So let me ask you the question that will determine everything about your next season. Are you ready to stop fighting the realignment and start walking in the revelation? Because what heaven is about to show you next will explain exactly why you had to go through everything you went through to get to where you are right now. Now let me tell you about the sign that confuses people the most. The one that makes you question everything. The one that feels like betrayal when it's actually the greatest mercy God could show you. It's called the spirit of interruption. And chosen one, if your life has suddenly stopped making sense in the last 6 months, you need to hear every word I'm about to say. You had a plan, a good plan. Maybe it was that business partnership that seemed perfect on paper. Maybe it was that relationship you were sure God approved of. Maybe it was that investment, that move, that decision you'd been praying about for months. You had peace. You had confirmation. You had green lights all the way down the road. And then suddenly, without warning, everything stopped. The bank denied the loan you were promised. The person you trusted backed out at the last minute. The door you'd been walking toward slammed shut so hard it knocked the wind out of you. And you stood there, 73 years old, 81 years old, feeling like a fool, wondering if you heard God wrong, wondering if your discernment is failing with age, wondering if maybe you've lost your spiritual sensitivity. But what if I told you that interruption wasn't confusion? What if that sudden stop wasn't God forgetting about you? What if that slammed door was the sound of heaven intervening to save your life? Listen to me carefully. When a shepherd sees his sheep sprinting toward the edge of a cliff, what does he do? Does he let it run because the sheep seems so determined, so confident, so sure of its direction? No, he breaks that sprint. He interrupts that momentum. He stops that sheep dead in its tracks, and the sheep doesn't understand. The sheep feels restricted, frustrated, confused. The sheep doesn't see the cliff 30 feet ahead, but the shepherd does. You are that sheep right now, and God is that shepherd. Think about it. How many times in your life have you looked back and realized that what felt like devastating rejection was actually divine protection? How many times have you thanked God years later for the doors He closed, the relationships He ended, the opportunities He blocked? Proverbs 16:9 says it plainly. In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Not suggests, not recommends, establishes. Sometimes establishment looks like interruption. Sometimes the loving hand of God feels like a brick wall. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what the enemy is doing to the chosen ones right now. He's twisting your interruption into isolation. He's making you believe that because God stopped you, God has abandoned you. He's whispering that because the door closed, you must have done something wrong. He's convincing you that interruption equals rejection. That is a lie from the pit of hell. God interrupts when we move too fast, when our momentum carries us past the wisdom we need to gather, when our excitement blinds us to the red flags He's trying to show us. He interrupts when we're clinging to what He's desperately trying to remove from our hands. That person who keeps disappointing you but you keep giving chances. That financial decision that keeps feeling wrong but you keep justifying. That pattern you know is unhealthy but you keep repeating. God will interrupt your grip on what's poisoning you. And chosen one, God interrupts when we're walking toward danger we absolutely cannot see. When there's a trap laid ahead that our natural eyes will never detect. When the enemy has orchestrated destruction disguised as blessing. Think of a conductor leading an orchestra. The music is building, the momentum is rising, everyone is playing their part. But suddenly, the conductor's hands stop. The music halts mid-phrase. Why? Because the violins have fallen out of tune. The audience might not notice yet, but the conductor hears it. And if he doesn't stop now, if he doesn't interrupt the flow and make the correction, the entire symphony will descend into chaos 30 measures from now. You are God's symphony, and He's the only conductor who can hear what's coming out of tune in your life before it destroys the entire arrangement. Look at Abraham in Genesis 22. God told him to sacrifice Isaac. Abraham obeyed. He built the altar. He bound his son. He raised the knife. His hand was in motion. His will was surrendered. His obedience was complete. And then God interrupted. An angel grabbed his hand mid-swing. Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. That interruption wasn't punishment. It was the entire point. God was never going to let that knife fall. But Abraham had to walk to the edge of the sacrifice before the interruption revealed God's true provision. What if your interruption is revealing something you couldn't see from where you were standing? You need to understand something that will change how you see your current situation. What God interrupts, He also redirects. Every time He closes a door, He's already unlocking another one. Every time He stops your plan, He's already activating His plan. Every time He breaks your momentum, He's already preparing your next move. But you won't see the redirection until you stop fighting the interruption. The interruption was not rejection, it was protection, and the redirection is coming faster than you think. But before we go there, you need to know about the fifth sign, because what's happening to you right now isn't just an interruption, it's preparation for what I'm about to reveal next. You've been asking God the wrong question for decades, haven't you? You've been saying, Why did this happen to me, when heaven has been waiting for you to ask, what were you preparing me for? Listen to me, chosen one. Every single thing that broke you, every person who abandoned you, every door that slammed in your face when you thought you had finally arrived, none of it was punishment. It was positioning. None of it was rejection. It was redirection. And if you can receive what I'm about to tell you, everything that felt like random chaos will suddenly snap into focus like a divine blueprint you've been holding upside down your entire life. That divorce that nearly destroyed you at 52? That wasn't the end of your story. It was the earthquake that cracked the foundation of a life built on the wrong person's approval. That business that collapsed after 30 years? That wasn't failure. It was God demolishing what you built with your own hands so He could construct something with His. That friendship that went cold without explanation? That wasn't betrayal, it was extraction. Heaven was pulling you out of a relationship that would have poisoned the next season you're about to enter. You thought you were losing everything. God was clearing the table. Proverbs 16:9 says, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." Do you understand what that means? It means every detour you cursed was actually a divine course correction. Every delay you resented was God's hand holding you back from arriving too early to a destination you weren't ready for. Every loss you mourned was Him removing what would have kept you small when He needed you expansive. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what makes me weep for the chosen ones sitting in their living rooms right now, surrounded by 70, 80, 90 years of memories. You've been so focused on what you lost that you've missed what you've been gaining. You've been staring at closed doors so long that you haven't noticed the pathway that's been forming beneath your feet. When a river changes course, it doesn't stop flowing, it finds a deeper bed. And, beloved, you are that river. The life you knew has changed course, yes. The people you depended on have fallen away, yes. The version of yourself you spent decades maintaining has died, yes. But you haven't stopped flowing. You've just been redirected into something deeper, something purer, something that will sustain not just you, but everyone downstream from your life. Right now, in this very moment, God is not asking you to go back and fix what broke. He's asking you to turn around and see what He's been building while you were busy mourning. He's redirecting you into 3 things your soul has been crying for since you were young. First, He's redirecting you into rest. Not retirement rest. There's a difference. Retirement is what the world gives you when they're done using you. Rest is what God gives you when He's ready to use you differently. You've spent 60, 70 years in survival mode, working, striving, proving, performing. But heaven is saying, your season of survival is over. Your season of surrender has begun. And in that surrender, you'll discover a peace that has nothing to do with your circumstances and everything to do with your alignment. Second, He's redirecting you into divine connections. Look around your life right now. Who's left? I mean, really look. The people still present aren't there by accident. They're assignments. That neighbor who keeps checking on you. That's not coincidence, that's covenant. That grandchild who calls more than the others. That's not preference, that's purpose. God is replacing draining relationships with anointed relationships. People who were connected to your old assignment are falling away because they're not equipped for your new one. Third, and this is where it gets supernatural, He's redirecting you into a new spiritual assignment in your elder years. You thought your time of significance was over. You thought your season of impact had passed. But Moses was 80 when God called him to deliver a nation. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the infant Jesus. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. What you carry now, what you know now, What you've survived now makes you dangerous to the kingdom of darkness in ways your younger self could never have been. Romans 8:28 doesn't say some things work together for good. It says all things. Every heartbreak was a classroom. Every loss was a lesson. Every disappointment was preparation. And now, all of it, the entire curriculum of your life, is converging into one clear direction, toward the purpose you were born for but couldn't fulfill until you became who you are right now. Your steps are no longer random, beloved. They are being choreographed by the divine director who has been watching you, guiding you, redirecting you toward this moment when you would finally be ready to receive what he's been trying to give you all along. Comment, I receive the redirection if something in your spirit just shifted. But receiving the redirection isn't enough. You need to understand what's been chasing you to get here and why it's more urgent than you realize. Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. While you were sleeping last Tuesday night, while you were making breakfast yesterday morning, while you were sitting in that doctor's waiting room flipping through magazines, there was a war being fought over your life that you couldn't see. You thought those last 3 months were just bad luck. You thought that sudden coldness from your daughter was just her being busy. You thought that financial setback was just the economy. But what if I told you that every single one of those incidents was a carefully orchestrated attack designed to move you 3 inches to the left, just far enough that you'd step directly into a trap you never saw coming? There was a spiritual landmine buried in your path, and you were 72 hours away from detonating it. Listen to me carefully. You know how farmers in the old days used to walk their fields looking for sinkholes. The ground looked solid. The grass grew green, but underneath, the earth had hollowed out, and one wrong step would send a man plummeting into darkness. That's where you were headed, beloved. The surface of your life looked stable, but hell had been excavating underneath you for months. Proverbs 16:25 warns us, "There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death." That decision you were about to make, the one that felt so logical, so reasonable, so right, it was the lip of the sinkhole. One more step and everything would have collapsed. But heaven saw what you couldn't see. Think about radar technology. During World War II, soldiers could spot enemy planes 15 miles away, while the naked eye saw only clear skies. The threat was real. The danger was approaching. But without that technology, without that warning system, entire cities would have been destroyed before anyone knew to take cover. That's what this message is. Chosen one, this is your radar. This is your early warning system. And what it's detecting should make every hair on your body stand up, because the enemy wasn't coming for your finances. He was coming for your legacy. He wasn't attacking your health. He was attacking your anointing. He wasn't trying to isolate you. He was trying to silence you before you could speak the one word that would set your grandchildren free. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That heaviness, that sense that something's off but you can't quite name it. You wake up tired even after 8 hours of sleep. You find yourself snapping at people you love. Prayers that used to flow like water now feel like pushing boulders uphill. That's not age, dear one. That's warfare. Ephesians 6:12 doesn't mince words. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. You thought you were fighting your circumstances. You've been fighting demonic strategy. But here's what breaks my heart and fires my spirit at the same time. While you were fighting blind, heaven wasn't. While you couldn't see the trap, angelic forces were already in motion. That friend who called you out of nowhere last week, that wasn't coincidence, that was divine intervention. That sermon you stumbled across that spoke directly to your situation, that wasn't the algorithm, that was the Almighty. That dream that woke you up at 3:47 a.m. with your heart pounding, That was heaven's alarm system going off. God has been fighting battles on your behalf that you won't fully understand until you stand before him face to face. Think about a bridge. From the road, everything looks fine. Traffic flows. People cross safely every day. But engineers know something the drivers don't. There are stress fractures forming in the support beams. Invisible cracks spreading through concrete. And if someone doesn't issue a warning, if someone doesn't close that bridge before rush hour, hundreds of people will plunge into the river below. You were on that bridge, beloved. You were in the fast lane, and the support beams were cracking beneath you. But heaven posted a watchman. Heaven issued the warning. Heaven stopped your scroll, interrupted your evening, arrested your attention with this message, because 72 hours from now, you needed to be somewhere else. But here's where it gets urgent. Here's where my voice needs to rise and your spirit needs to wake completely up. The warning was heaven's alarm, but your obedience is heaven's weapon. God didn't send this message just to inform you. He sent it to activate you. You're not supposed to just hear this and feel better. You're supposed to hear this and move differently. The battle didn't end when heaven warned you. The battle shifts when you respond. There's something you're supposed to do in the next 72 hours. A conversation you need to have. A decision you need to reverse. A door you need to close. A relationship you need to release. And the reason this warning had to reach you fast is because the window to act is narrow. So let me ask you something that's going to determine everything that happens next. What are you going to do with what you now know? Listen to me, chosen one. For the last few minutes, you've been receiving. Now heaven demands something from you. Not your money, not your performance, your declaration. Because here's what most believers never understand. God doesn't move on your feelings. He moves on your covenant. Your tears don't activate angels. Your agreement does. You want to know why that breakthrough keeps circling but never landing? Why that door keeps appearing but never opening? Because you've been waiting for God to do something He's already done. He issued the warning. He sent the messenger. He interrupted your timeline. Now He's waiting for one thing from your mouth, your yes. Think about Joshua at Jericho. God gave him the battle plan, walk around the wall 7 days, then shout. But nothing happened on day 1. Nothing moved on day 3. The walls stood mocking him on day 6. Joshua chapter 6 tells us they marched in complete silence. Can you imagine the doubt, the whispers? Maybe we heard wrong. Maybe this isn't God. But on the 7th day, when Joshua commanded the people to shout, those walls didn't crack, they collapsed. Why? Because covenant is sealed through obedience, not emotion. Right now, you're standing at your 7th day. Everything I've spoken over you, the warning, the strategy, the timeline, it's all hovering in the spiritual realm, waiting for your mouth to give it permission to manifest in the natural. You think you're just typing words in a comment section? No. You're issuing a decree that shifts the atmosphere over your life. Proverbs 18:21 is clear. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Every time you speak agreement with heaven, you're giving the angelic realm legal jurisdiction to move on your behalf. But here's what terrifies me. I've watched thousands of people sit in this exact moment feeling the fire, knowing the truth, sensing the shift, and do nothing. They nod their heads, they wipe their tears, they whisper amen to themselves, and then they go back to the same life, the same patterns, the same defeated mindset. And 30 days later, they're wondering why nothing changed. Let me tell you why. Because heaven honors declarations, not intentions. God responds to covenant, not curiosity. So here's what's going to happen right now. I'm going to give you 5 words. 5 simple words that will become your covenant declaration. And when you write them in the comments, you're not just participating in a video, you're entering into agreement with what God has already spoken over your season. Type this: I will not miss my season. Say it out loud first. Let your voice hear it. Let your spirit feel it. Let the enemy know that his window of opportunity to distract you just slammed shut. I will not miss my season, because you are chosen not to barely survive, but to break through. You are protected not by your strength, but by his shield. You are redirected not to wander, but to arrive. You are elevated not to blend in, but to stand out. God has issued the warning. The messenger has delivered the word. The strategy has been revealed. Now heaven waits for your yes. And what you do in the next 60 seconds will determine what God does in your next 60 days. Beloved, as we close this sacred time together, I need you to hold on to 3 truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, this warning was not sent to scare you, it was sent to prepare you. Heaven interrupted your timeline because you matter, because what's coming requires you to be spiritually awake, emotionally ready, and positioned correctly. Second, the shifting you've been feeling, those doors resisting, those relationships growing distant, that unexplainable restlessness, it wasn't random, it was redirection. God has been clearing your path, removing distractions, and repositioning you for what he's about to release. Third, you are not too old, not too late, and certainly not forgotten. Every gray hair on your head is a crown of wisdom. Every scar you carry is evidence that you survived what should have destroyed you. Your age is not your limitation, it's your qualification. But here's what I need you to know with absolute certainty. You are not walking this alone. Right now, the God who parted the Red Sea is parting ways for you. The God who made the sun stand still is stopping time on your behalf. The God who raised Jesus from the dead is breathing resurrection life into every dead situation you've been mourning. And beyond that, you have us, this community, thousands of believers who understand your struggle, who feel your pain, who are praying for your breakthrough. We're not just viewers on a screen, we're family in the spirit. So, let me ask you this one final question. Now that you know what heaven is warning you about, now that you understand why things have been shifting, now that you've received the strategy, what will you do with it? Before you go, let me pray over you. Right now, wherever you are, close your eyes and receive this blessing. Heavenly Father, I lift up every precious soul who has heard this warning. Lord, you see them, not just their struggles, but their strength, not just their pain, but their purpose, not just their fear, but their faith. Touch them right now with your presence. Let them feel you near. God, open every door that's been shut. Remove every obstacle that's been blocking their path. Silence every voice of doubt. Break every chain of fear. Heal every wounded place. Restore what the enemy has stolen. Give them wisdom for the decisions ahead. Give them courage for the battles they're facing. Give them peace that surpasses understanding. Surround them with divine protection. Connect them with the right people. Provide for every need. And Lord, let them wake up tomorrow knowing, truly knowing that they are loved, they are chosen, they are not alone. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me how this message spoke to your spirit. What is God warning you about? What do you need prayer for? Don't hold back, this community is here to stand with you. And please, share this video with someone who needs this warning. There's someone in your life right now who's feeling the same shift, asking the same questions. They need to know they're not crazy, they're chosen. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Because this warning is just the beginning. There's more God wants to reveal, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for staying until the very end. That tells me everything about your heart. You're ready. Now go. Walk in your warning. Walk in your wisdom. Walk in your calling. You are chosen. You are loved. You are not alone.